Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our trading room. Bear with me just a moment here. My charts are still trying to load. I don't want to crash the computer, making it do too many things. The market just opened up, and it looks like it could be a little bit of a gap higher, or at least relative to where it left off, of course. And it is Monday morning, which means we could see some volatility come our way. Just putting my trade manager on my charts. Oh, it's not going to load right. If this ever happens to you, I'm going to show you how to fix it. So you try to load Trade Manager. It doesn't load. I don't know why it does that, but just simply remove it. Here we'll remove, we'll apply. Now we'll reapply the Trade Manager. And this is why it's handy to have a template made, because this makes it a lot easier to do. And voila, there's your Trade Manager. Okay, to save time, I'm going to assume that the other ones are not right either. And there we go. So I'm also running soybeans and crude oil this morning. Soybeans on a little bit of a move lower, and just a moment, let me get these set up and I will bring those charts over for you. I trust everybody had a nice weekend. We had a very nice weekend. Okay, so here's the soybean market. And you can see that they topped out on Friday and have been making a very nice move lower. In fact, well, here was our first signal just off of the open. We actually had a nice hard edge bounce and a with trend signal all develop in the overnight. We should be able to get another signal off of this though. So I don't think we're too late to capitalize on it. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. See how we're coming up a little bit shallow there on the trend line? Maybe soybeans are going to be a little bit more bullish today. So they came up shallow on the trend line here. They're breaching on the top. Well, we'll have to keep an eye out for that. We are getting a possible trend change signal on the Falcon already. And that would have been on soybeans that I'm watching that Falcon trend change. Bring that over if that develops. Okay, the NQ on a little bit of a tear. Off of the overnight activity, we did get a red bar buy right here out of the open. And it looks as though that one is probably pretty close to its profit target already. So the NQ definitely looking a little bit on the bullish side this morning. Thanks, Jim. Jim says it's looking a little bit odd that the DAX is very weak. And that's no doubt because of the ongoing saga with Greece in the European Union and so on and so forth. That's going to weigh pretty heavily on their stock index today, I think. And Jim says the advanced decline 2100 positive, 500 negative, so about 1550, 1600 to the positive. That's a fairly strong advanced decline. Just waiting for another opportunity to get in. All right, let's see what we got going on here. I was watching the soybean trade here give us a I was waiting for this green bar sell to develop into something, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So it's looking much more likely that we're going to see a little bit of a rally here in soybeans. And we are getting a first micro macro cross signal now. Because this market is in decline, I don't want to get too aggressive on the entry. I'm probably not going to take it on the hash mark. Rather, I would look at possibly buying it on a break above this little swing high, because that would make it more of a true breakout. It still remains to be seen whether this is our test of the extreme or whether we're going to see a deeper test. But there is a possibility that we're going to see a little bit of a rally here in the soybean market. So I'm going to set that one aside. I was looking at some of your questions here while the macro pullback signal blew past me. Oh well, we'll get one yet. I'm not overly concerned about it. But Micah asks, hi Eric, welcome back. The other day you mentioned the new DTS automated version. Do you know when it will be possible to see a demo? It is still in the programming stage, so not anytime soon, I'm afraid. Do you know if it can be programmed to enter, for example, only first micro macro crossovers as soon as it makes such a number, or if it first micro macro crossover? Okay, so I think what you're asking is it possible to program the types of trades you want into it? Um, Micah asks, basically, I know you said it only takes one or two trades, but can it be changed to enter more trades? Thanks. Right now, the way they're working on it, no, it is not customizable. Hence that's kind of the whole point of a black box system, I suppose, is that you let the machine do all the work for you. So it is focusing on only the highest probability signal, of course, and as a result, you may only get one or two signals a day. The idea being that they will be of the greatest probability, but at the moment, I don't believe that it's customizable, but I'm not on the programming team. I will mention it to Adam, but it is something that is still in the programming stage. As you can imagine, it is not an easy thing to program, but once it is ready, you can be sure you will hear about it. So let's see here how they're holding the trend line, not too badly. The Raptor, in a way, was the predecessor to the automated system, the programming. If you purely trade the Raptor, just all in sync, for instance, you get a buy signal, it's all blue. You run a conservative stop, it's the type of situation where you're going to get normally get high quality signals. You won't produce very many because the Raptor doesn't sync up all that often. That's why we'll look at things like double pullbacks, um, failures of cell signals and so on and so forth. All right, so it looks like I missed my second opportunity to get in there, but we are long on our soybean trade, which is attempting to make a little bit of a poke higher. So we'll see what we can sneak out of that one. Jim says the DAX is puking, so the DAX is losing it. The bank index is getting weaker, but the Russell is strong. Boy, we got a real mixed bag this morning. The advanced decline looks like it's still hovering around 1400, according to Jim's figures. 1400 to the positive, so that's still pretty bullish, as you can see here from this nice rally in the NQ right out of the gate. Oh, and we had a late filter entry signal here too. My goodness, I'm a little bit off my game this morning. So very good late filter entry signal right here on the Falcon. Hopefully somebody was able to get in on that. That definitely paid off. So let's say even you covered it, well, say below there. Oh, thanks, Michelle. Michelle says the NQ just closed its 26th of June gap down. Wow. Took them a little while, but they finally got up there. Okay, so you can see from the channel lines that I drew here on the Eagle that we're into the top end of the trading channel. No real surprise that there's a little bit of profit taking going on now. They're going to give us a signal halfway through this channel again, which is going to be annoying because it's going to be difficult to determine whether or not we want to take it. All right, let's see what else we got going on. Crude oil trying to press a little higher. Here is crude oil on the Falcon. Crude oil being very uncrude-like of late, a little bit on the quiet side. So our trend line is starting to change. I suppose you could treat this as an early trend change signal if you wanted to be a little bit quick on this market, but I don't know if crude oil is a market you want to be too quick on. So there's our test to the extreme. We'll see whether or not we produce a signal now to the upside. A proper trend change signal, one where we're currently making the up portion, we need the down portion, and then we need the buyers to come back and show us their intentions. The NQ on a definite tear, so definitely a buyer's market today. Unfortunately, given this big early move, I'm going to be sitting on my hands here for a little bit until the NQ comes back with a more palatable signal. Excuse me for just a few moments. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. And here we are. You can see this channel type deal, what's going on. The market is retreating a little bit. We're about to produce a buy signal here. Thank goodness the hawk has drifted into yellow bars. We're still pretty strong overall. Yeah, Michelle says, according to the Day Ranger, it looks like the hawk has exceeded its current ranges, and yes, you are correct on that. The average has been about 200, and we're currently up to 218 already, so we might be at our limit. if we look at this from a overnight perspective, let's see, where did the market close? Oh, let's not do it on the Falcon. There's going to be too many bars. Let's do it here on the Eagle. So the market left off trading down here. And it resumed trading up here. So this whole section through here is going to look like an opening gap. And there is a possibility the market is going to try to trade into that gap today. We'll keep an eye on it. We're obviously bullish, right? So here we're getting our red bar buy signal, which has just tripped to the upside. We should see a test of the extreme. I missed that one, but we can always set up the red bar buy for the counter trend. We can do a little counter trend action there. And what I might do, let's see, where's the bottom end of this channel? Around 44.60. Oh, I guess that's where my profit objective would be. I was going to say I can pull my profit objective a little bit deeper, but it looks like it would try to get to the bottom end of the trading range on a failure here anyhow. So working a possible trend change here in the Falcon also. Good question here from Richard. Richard asks, if we are in fact bullish and we have a gap, would you expect to trade into the gap or close the gap? Well, as a rule of thumb, markets don't like gaps, and they normally try to fill the gap the same session the gap occurs, but not always. The really big gaps sometimes can hang around for a day or two until the market trades into them. But we've been gapping. We gapped higher on Friday. We gapped higher this morning. Friday's gap was never filled. You know, these rules that we use are always just rules of thumb, right? So here is the red bar buy signal, and this would have been worth trying given that we hadn't seen a test of the extreme yet. So it did run up, find that. I missed that part, so I'm waiting for it to turn. Well, let's assume that it turns here, and I'll set up for a failure of the test of the red bar buy signal. Okay, crude oil no longer looking bullish. Here's the hawk on crude oil. And it's starting to fold over again. These yellow bars, you see how they're all kind of in the same latitude? That's indicative of a sideways market. So that red bar buy, very good follow through on that. Much better than I anticipated. Okay, let's see if we get a failure. We had a tiny little breach of the trend line here. Not the type of breach that we normally anticipate. You know, a bigger breach sees the market violate the trend line like this, and then eventually head down, break the trend line this way, give us a little bit of a hiccup, and then come back with a sell signal. That would make for a pretty strong sell signal set up like that. But we don't have the real big breakout yet, so I'm not getting overly bearish. Okay, come on, you. Yeah, Jim says maybe we might see a test of the 10 a.m. low. I think you could be right about that, Jim. Okay, so what I'm thinking here is we're starting to introduce some yellow bars. The market's starting to come up a little bit shallow. We might see here on the Raptor a sell, a soft edge sell. The Falcon is still floundering just a bit. What I'm not wanting to see is this market gap up, go sideways. Well, I shouldn't say gap up. It made a strong rally up, no question. So rally up and then just go sideways. That is what I'm hoping to avoid. Here on the Raptor, if we produce a soft edge sell, it might be worth the selling attempt, at least back here into the hard edge. And then, as Jim's been hinting, we might see a retest of this morning's lows, which could see a trade all the way down here to 44.48, 44.50, that whole area. We're getting a possible buy signal here in the Falcon. Ay, 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 don't make me do it. Please don't. You see here on the Falcon, we're getting the trend change signal, and we've got the warning dots, and we're just a few ticks away from producing a buy signal. I'm going to dial down the risk because one thing I have learned is that very often the tool is smarter than I am. Okay, after a fair amount of labor, the soybean trade finally hit its profit objective, but that's all we got out of it as our profit target, and now it's kind of on the skids again. But at least we did manage to get our profit target. All right, so remember how I said crude oil was looking a little bit stronger? not anymore. In fact, we're working on our trend change signal now to the downside. We still have these lows here. We're still honoring these support levels. It's crude. You know, what can I tell you? It is one of the world's most volatile markets. So the problem here is that all this activity down here may well be a test of the extreme. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for an opportunity to sell it, but only to the point where the sellers are overwhelming the buyers. I don't want to buy it right here, you know, cover it here, only to have the buyers jump all over me again and then rally the market up. That would be bad, especially since crude is the type of market I can't enter here on the hash mark and cover up there. Oh, maybe I can. That would be the better course of action. Try to give yourself at least a little bit of staying power. But I think the thing to do here is to sacrifice a few ticks on the entry, run the stop as deep as you can manage, and really what you're doing here is you're just hoping for the best, because this market very, very sideways at the moment. We are making lower swing highs, which is good, but major obstacle here around this 5160 area. But crude looking as though it's going to try to head lower. I've anticipated the hash mark printing here also. You will notice that sometimes you will get two warning dots before you get a hash mark print. So this is something you need to keep a lookout for also. All right, so we'll put that one on the shelf. Oh, okay, well that hash mark just printed. So you can see they printed the hash mark. They just poked through the other side of the trend line. Now here come the buyers. So this is effectively now our second push on the entry. So we're looking for the sellers to pick up this market and enter below these lows. Yeah, see, look at that. There come those buyers trying to knock the sellers over. All right, let's put that away. Okay, here's a green bar sell now on our soybean market. Technically, the band has just turned over, but you don't want to interpret things all that precise. If you look at this from the larger point of view, it almost has a little bit of a bear flag flavor to it. Will the market pick up the trend and head lower here, or will it reverse the trend? Well, it's too difficult to say right now. Right now, it does look as though the market is getting a little bit stronger, but there is a possible green bar sell, and our falcon is also starting to turn over into a trend change signal. So we'll see what develops, whether or not we get a chance to short soybeans now after this morning's little bit of a run up. So beans open down here off of this late filter entry signal, a little bit of a run up. Now they're starting to labor. They took a long time to hit our profit objective off that first micro macro cross signal we saw in the hawk. Oh, and here was that falcon signal that I was talking about. It's since tripped, but let's follow it along. Oh, there they go. Go falcon. Come on. Yeah, this market very strong this morning. All right, crude oil no longer looking bearish. Here's crude oil once again, just flip-flopping back and forth. So I'm not sure we're going to see any crude oil trades today, not so long as this market is stuck in a sideways type action. Let's see, did the NQ reach our profit objective here on this Falcon trade? Yeah, just tagged it. Hit it by a tick. Okay, let's see here. Ron's got a question. Ron asks, is it possible that loss of ticks affects the red dot on the Falcon. I have no red ball and only a single bar that did not achieve the low of your red bar. Okay, so you're talking, I think, this one right here. Or one of these anyways. Okay, well, first make sure that yours is set at an 8-tick brick. So you go here to your data settings and you make sure that it's set for 8 ticks. The other thing I suppose it could be here and back in the data settings, I have mine, I've got 10 days of data loaded and I set my default session to 24/5. Now you shouldn't panic if your settings are slightly different. The main signals are always going to develop the same way, right? If you have your set at 24/7 and you have 30 days of data loaded, it really doesn't matter that much. But if you're trying to mirror my charts, these are the settings that I have. Because with a range style bar like the mean Renko bar, it does depend when the bar starts to print. And it also depends, it could be a few milliseconds off. Sometimes that's all it takes is if the data is a few milliseconds different, sometimes it will print a little bit differently also. Wow. Huh. Ron says his chart's running about 20 seconds behind mine. That is odd. You're working on a live data feed, obviously. It's not delayed data. If anything, I would think that the screen sharing software would delay my information somewhat, you know, by the time you receive it. Clock, yeah, that's a good one. Mark suggests check your clock on your computer because, believe it or not, all this software, when it sets the times and everything, it works off of your computer clock. All right, soybeans still stagnant. Crude oil made a bit of a rally here. Unfortunately, no real signal to play off of. Working on a first micro-macro cross now to the upside. But this is one where, well, the problem with the first micro-macro cross up here, of course, is that it may turn into a macro pullback. So perhaps the safer entry is there. But you can see you're giving up practically your whole profit target just to gain entry. Can I cover it down there? Yes, I can. Hopefully it will slip a little bit lower here and not force my hand on this first micro-macro cross signal. And the NQ starting to drift a little bit sideways. Well, that might have been the excitement this morning, folks. Just that little bit of a move there. Well, I shouldn't say a little bit. It was a decent move. Jim says the crude oil raptor had a solid signal, and so it did. This buy signal right here came off of the failure of the sell, and boom. Boom goes the dynamite. I forget what sports anchor used that, but it was all over the internet for a while. The YM also posting decent gains today, but slowing somewhat. Here's the YM. Not quite, well, I guess just about as strong as the NQ, so a little bit of a run up. And now we're kind of going sideways. Okay, another red bar buy signal. We normally only see 2 red bar buys within a trend. So this one might be worth setting up for a counter trend type situation once it develops. Okay, the Raptor being a little bit more aggressive here on this soft edge sell. It's not the best soft edge sell because the soft edge sell has to be preceded by a test of the extreme, and we don't have that yet. All right, well, we do have our red bar buy, and once again, you can always set it up to buy. In this case, we're looking again for a test of the extreme. We can set it up to sell. Nice thing about the red bar buy failure is that we know where to cover the trade. If it looks like it's going to swing here, however, I could even tighten it somewhat. Or you can simply use it as a early warning that the trend might be reversing, in which case we're going to see a late filter entry signal. So definitely counter trend, not exactly what, the best looking trades. Counter trend trades are never your best options. Okay, so here comes that soft edge sell again on the Raptor. Just getting the warning dot, not getting the signal just yet. There's the other warning dot. I could also enter the trade this way, right? I was looking to use the sell market button, but we can also preset our order. Oh, well done, Michelle. Michelle just got her second target on the Hawk first micro macro cross. Well done. All right, so there's our hash marks. There's our complete signal. Again, folks, this is a counter trend signal. This is not the strongest of signals. We've got a market which is obviously advancing today, but there's not much else going on right now. So we might as well see whether this soft edge sell has any follow through to it. All right, well, the market very slow to follow through on both the failure here of the red bar buy, which coincidentally is also our first micro macro cross lower. Yeah, they've pretty much dried up since that first rally, which seems to be what they've been doing of late, isn't it? They kind of make that early, set the trend out of the gate, and then kind of go sideways for the rest of the section. Well, crude oil's stopped rallying and going sideways. Soybeans, well, they're still going sideways. Yeah, nothing going on here. I'm just snooping around trying to see if there's anything that we're missing, but really there's nothing going on here. Well, here's the problem, of course, with a counter trend trade is that when you start to develop a with trend signal, is that you won't be in a position to take it. So right now, we're not really printing a signal just yet. You can see we're getting lots of yellow bar clusters through here. Very common in a sideways market. Possibly working on a trend change signal here to the downside, which did not trip, but here we are again to the upside. We'll hang with it for a few more minutes, but I'm almost thinking that this is what the market is doing now. They get busy early and then they stop. Even crude oil, which put in a tear to the upside, never followed through on the first micro-macro cross signal that we were looking at. Soybeans have since just gone sideways also. So just not a whole lot of anything right now. Here's soybeans just printing a buy signal. And this is the first signal with the trend. Well, I suppose this one technically was down here. But even here, not the most enticing signal. Yes, the market is looking a little bit more bullish. We've broken out of this descending channel. Overall, though, if you took a larger perspective of this market, this may just be a bear flag developing, in which case we're going to see the market try to head lower. Problem, of course, is we haven't seen a real test of the extreme here. It's not to say soybeans cannot trade higher. It's just saying that it would be a better trade, a more probable trade, if we did see a test of the extreme first, and we don't have that. In fact, I think what I'll do is I'll go just a tick above here. And, you know, once again, not the most promising of setups. And after the original rally, here comes soybeans, or pardon me, crude oil, starting to slip. So no real follow through from any of the markets right now. I think we're going to button up the room. If you are trading today, if you're going to continue trading this afternoon, look for buying opportunities in the stock indices. that is going to be your best bet. Try to avoid, even though we had the opening gap, even though, you know, we're struggling here with the first hour highs, and Jim may well be right. We might see the market fall back off here to this 44.50 region. There's no denying the market is in an uptrend. So if you get a chance to buy off of the bottom end of this channel that we see here in the Eagle, if it comes back down into the hard edge and produces a buy signal, we're probably going to see some sort of push higher there, at least a last ditch attempt. Okay, you guys. Well, I guess we'll see you again tomorrow morning, and hopefully the markets will have a little bit more follow through than what they did today, or I'm just going to have to get busy early. All right, guys. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.